Hello everyone. This is Tobi from the Phuket Meditation Center, and you're listening to the Dharana Meditation Podcast. Let's sit together, calm the busy mind, and explore topics concerning character development, meditative training, and deeper self-knowledge. Begin by sitting upright. The head is suspended from above, the chin slightly tucked. Let your body be relaxed, soft. Just breathe in a way that feels nice, that feels refreshing, fulfilling. Giving space to yourself and the way it is right now in this moment, just allowing everything to be. Not interfering or controlling anything. And sitting like this with the body still, the breathing comfortable, everything will gradually begin to settle down. And breathing in, I'd like you to feel your head, the region of your brain. And as you breathe out, notice how everything releases up there. Becomes a bit more soft, a bit more open. There's nothing to do here other than to observe this area of your body. Feeling on the in-breath and noticing the release during the out-breath. If you pay attention, you will notice that each time you let go, each time that area becomes a bit more soft, a bit more open and relaxed, that this is comfortable, that feels good. And as you breathe in, bring your attention to the area of the heart, the chest. As you breathe out, feel how everything becomes a bit more soft, a bit more released. Just keeping the mind there, very gently exploring, feeling into your body. We're not trying to create anything. Just exploring what's there. Experiencing and enjoying this natural form of release that happens with each out-breath. And if you're a bit more new to this, then please know that it's totally normal and okay for the mind to wander, to have interest in many other things. And so it's not very stable, kind of flimsy, scattered. You simply know that this is an untrained mind. It's a mind that has never really been understood. And so it's perfectly normal to experience that. And to experience as well an irritation together with that. Most people want to be in control, they want to be in charge of their mind, and they realize that they're not. Mind does whatever it wants. So it's quite important to notice every time you come back, actually, and spend one nice breath there. And learn to appreciate those little moments. Instead of focusing on what doesn't work, we focus on what works. Instead of demanding to be instantly, perfectly enlightened and in total control over the mind, appreciate those little moments of awakening so they can become more. Feeling the heart as you breathe in, noticing the release as you breathe out. let the attention sink down a bit further, centering in the belly. As you breathe in, feeling the abdominal region. As you breathe out, notice the softening, the release that naturally happens. And really pay attention to those little pleasant aspects of letting go. It's those aspects that if you nourish them with your attention will grow, become more and more pleasant. And once it becomes more pleasant to be with yourself, the mind also becomes less distracted naturally. There's no reason to run away if it is pleasant to be with yourself. There's no reason for distraction. And breathing in, saturating the entire body with awareness, feeling the whole body. And breathing out, softening, releasing. gradually letting go of all this unnecessary stress and tension in the tissues. And eventually we just rest with the simple perception of breath. Breathing in, knowing that we're breathing in, breathing out, knowing that we're breathing out. Just one breath. There's no specific way in which you should breathe, other than breathing comfortably, so it feels nice. In your own time, you can slowly come back, open your eyes, gently stretch your body a bit if you want. So, good morning, everyone. Good to see all of you. I think it's a common error for most of us to fall into the trap of getting stuck with views, opinions, philosophical systems, logic, reasoning, and so forth. And while all these things can be helpful and are helpful on some level, they are not the end-all, be-all. It's like that famous image of the finger pointing to the moon, right? You have that. It's not about the finger that points up to the moon, but it's about the moon. So those various philosophical systems, the religious approaches, they are essentially all there to be transcended. The idea of all those things is to go beyond them, not to get stuck in them, not to identify with them, formulate a personality, a self around them. I guess this is a thing that puts many people off religion, unfortunately, is that obsession with my view is better than your view, for example. This is a direct result of attaching to a particular opinion, a particular idea or philosophy that one has. Getting very obsessed with my philosophy, my viewpoint, my religion, And of course, because there is this kind of obsession, then one is in a constant need to prove one's own religion to others as being superior or as being the only one true way, and so on. This is unfortunate. This is not how it is supposed to be. These systems that, let's say, those religious cultural institutions would protect over the centuries and millennia even sometimes, they are just that. They are there to protect, to preserve, to carry through the centuries the core, the most precious heart of those religions. And this heart of those religions, it's all about gnosis. It's all about directly realizing your true nature. Directly understanding, from just understanding the basics of your experiences, what they actually are, all the way down to the deepest, understanding your essence. Understanding what is at the core of all experiences, and then what is it even that transcends all experiences. And if someone has no interest in actually transcending their experiences, then they might have a lot of interest in, for example, bolstering their sense of self. And we can do that quite easily by using various systems, not only just religious systems. It can be philosophical tenets, it can be psychological stuff, all kinds of things we can use to identify with that and hold on to that, because it gives us a sense of safety, it gives us a sense of belonging, all these kind of things. But it doesn't actually lead to higher forms of happiness. And you see most of the people who are obsessing about their views, their opinions, their religious standpoints, they're very unhappy. They're not at all free or released, open-minded, able to listen, able to pay attention to something, that there is no curiosity in experience itself. It's like a special type of death, a special type of lifelessness, I would say. Just that stuckness in opinion. And it happens really easily. For example, if I say something like, well, meditation is good for us. Just a very general point. Meditation being good for us. Now, what does that actually mean? We all might feel like, oh yeah, of course, meditation is good for us. But what is meditation? What actually is that? If you dig even a little deeper, well, I don't know. How is it defined? What is the function of meditation? What is its nature? What differentiates meditation from non-meditation? What specifically is that? Already out of my depth. I don't know how to answer that. If you find yourself to be in that, that is not so certain, right? It's not so comforting. Because there you figure out that you actually don't know what you're talking about to yourself and others. God is great. I might put it into the comment section. God is great, or a Bible quote. But I don't know what is God. I have no idea what it is. That'd be the most straightforward and honest answer. Apart from philosophical tenets that I might be able to repeat, I can parrot sentences from the Bible or my scripture, yes? But actually I don't know it. I'm not tasting it. It's like somebody that can tell you all about honey, but has never eaten it, right? That famous example. I can have a PhD on a subject that I've never experienced. I can have a PhD on, let's say, on Buddhism, without ever having experienced not even the slightest depth of meditation or insight or release. This is a big problem nowadays. It's called, right, the age of information. We're stuck at that realm. It's just merely information, the repetition of information, the writing about information, the thinking about information, and that layer that the Buddha referred to, I think, as a thicket of views that you can get lost in. And based upon that thicket of views, we then hold particular opinions and we test them against other people's opinions. And then sometimes when our opinions are on shaky ground and someone is challenging them, instead of actually allowing this to happen for the sake of knowledge, for the sake of direct understanding of what it is that I'm so passionate about, apparently, we become defensive. We don't want that to happen. Here's a clear, it's a clear evidence that we are just merely attached to a particular view that we use for comfort, for safety, for coping, for managing with our actual lack of knowledge. Because I can learn something by heart, Bible verses, the sutras, and so on. I can learn by heart, and I can repeat them, and I can learn the definitions of each of those words that the Buddha uses. The definition of mindfulness, the definition of mind. What actually is that? What does the Buddha mean when he says citta? What does the Buddha mean when he says mindfulness? Alertness. How are these two states different? Alertness and mindfulness. How do they differ? We can learn all that, pick up all the definitions and understand how they differ, yet not experience them. So very often I think this is it's a way to appear as if doing the good work, which gives myself a good feeling, while avoiding the good work. And the good work would be for us to do whatever it takes to transcend the layers of psychology and body. To go beyond the senses. What is the body, right? The body is it's just the accumulation of sense experiences. It's touch, sight, smell, taste, and sound, with those 5. That's the body. What would it mean to go beyond that? What is it like to go beyond sound, sight, smell, taste, and touch? How do you conceptualize that? How do you put words on that? Now add the psychological layer, the mind. All the words, opinions, ideas, all the memories and perceptions that we have accumulated throughout the ages. All these things are a type of a layer, a strata that should be transcended, that we should go beyond. And the reason for going beyond those things, it's fairly simple too. It's for the sake of happiness. Transcending something that weighs you down equals happiness. Again, happiness is one of those words, right? You hear the word, you think you know exactly what I mean, right? Happiness. Oh yeah, of course, happiness. But if you look a little deeper, what actually is that What is happiness? You'd have to go beyond the words. So forget the word. What happens underneath the layer of words? Memories, ideas, visualizations, whatever. What's underneath that? What is that thing that you call happiness? What are its mechanics? What are its causes? What are its results? Is it experienced in the body? Is it experienced in the mind? Is there an experience that you can discern right now that is in the mind but not in the body? Good luck with that. So again, it's one of those words, right? Happiness. What is that? Well, figure it out. Aren't you curious? Don't you want to know? Or are you satisfied with just hearing me explain it to you and then take that explanation home with you with the illusion that you know now? Now I understand. Now I know. Happiness is that. Okay, good, satisfied. Let's go home. Because now we know, right? No need to do anything else. Maybe you can Google it compared with what you've heard here. Get some more information until you're satisfied, and then you drop the whole thing. But I'm encouraging you to do precisely that. This path is for the sake of happiness. Whatever we do is for the sake of happiness. It's for the sake of the ending of suffering and stress. Most of us don't even perceive that we suffer. And we wouldn't even know what suffering is. For a lot of people, suffering is it's some sort of painful experience, unpleasantness, to a great extent being really unpleasant. That we would call suffering. Starvation, war. And perhaps right now, sitting here and listening to this, you don't think you're suffering. Everything's all right. I'm pretty fine. I'm good. But is that really true? Are you actually good? Are you actually fine? What if you were stripped of all your crutches? What if I took everything from you? How about taking your stuff? How about taking your friends? How about taking people away from you? Isolating you? How about taking your intelligence from you? Your pride? How about taking your sense of knowing where you are, who you are, and what you are? All that is psychological realm. All this is mental stuff. What if I took all that from you? What if I took your memories? All of them. So you don't know anymore where you're from, who you are, who those people around you are. Now what is left then if I were to take all those things? Would it be pure bliss or would it be suffering? Be realistic about it. If you were isolated completely, what would you experience? Happiness or suffering? I'm not talking about the romantic idea of going into the mountains and leaving everything behind that introverts like a lot. When you're actually there, it's a whole different ballgame. And you are then faced with what is underneath, because now you're stripped of all those extra layers. Underneath that, you will find there's a whole lot of restlessness, agitation, worry, despair, loneliness, and absolutely no idea what to do with ourselves. So no wonder we are so engaged in the pursuit of pleasures and little things that keep us distracted from ourselves. You've all known during the meditation we just did, what is the mind doing? It's distracting. It's interested in all kinds of things except for yourself. It doesn't go back into the heart. It doesn't feel comfortable there for some reason. It wants to go out. Don't get me wrong, this is not philosophy I'm talking about right now. This is directly to be experienced by all of us here. This is not something you need to accept or believe in at all. Put it to the test. Stop distracting yourself for a day. Stay in one room, do nothing. What's the experience then? If you don't do all those things that you want to do, if you take that from you, what's the experience? Happiness is the falling away of that basic restlessness, that basic feeling of dissatisfaction with this moment. To whatever extent that falls away, that's what we call happiness. But what does that mean for you in your own experience? What about your personal access to that happiness? How do you access it here and now? A happiness that arises for no reason. That's simply there. How do you access something like that? And I'm not asking, again, about your opinion, your view, your ideas about it, but your actual experience of being there, sitting still with you. What do you do inside to release that tension, that stress, that suffering, that restlessness, the dissatisfaction with this moment? How do you really do it? And is it successful? If it is successful, can you take it into moments that are more challenging? How strong is it? How independent is your happiness? Your freedom? Is it real freedom or is it just nice circumstances? I know all of us share the same wish. We all want to be happy. We all want to be at ease. We all want to feel good. So what we're doing here when we're sitting down and meditating is pursuing this wish that is at the basis of your heart. It's like you're following love. That is what love is. It is that force in you that wants you to be truly happy. And compassion is that force in you that truly wants you to be free from suffering. It's active all the time, but it's misled. We want to be happy, but we don't know how to do it. We don't know how to make ourselves happy. If we did, isolation would not be torture or a punishment. It would be a reward. True reward. You'd be happy to be isolated. You'd be happy to be with yourself. Truly. It'd be blissful. You'd seek it out. You would want to meditate every day because that is what it means, being with yourself. So I recommend this attitude towards meditation. You need to understand what it is that you're doing. Actually, not just doing it because then you belong to some sort of group or it gives you a feeling of value or something like this. I have a value, or doing it for your teacher or something like that. But aren't you genuinely curious what it is that you are. And how would you go about finding that out if you didn't have any books, if you were like the Buddha, just walking into a forest, as he was still Prince Siddhartha? He went into the forest and he just had this intense curiosity. He wanted to find out how to stop suffering. No instructions, no YouTube, no Google, no books. Just the wish to understand. Or Einstein that wanted to understand what light is. How do you figure this out? What is light? You'd have to be obsessed about it. Because otherwise you will quickly give up. And nowadays, you just Google what is light. You get an answer, you're satisfied, but you don't know actually. Einstein really knew what he was doing. I'd say, or he knew to a very large extent. It's the thing with great scientists, with great philosophers, with great meditators, they never get a sense of I know. They're always like curious. There's a curiosity concerning life. There's a curiosity about the soul, a curiosity about the heart, the mind, experience. What is it made of? Who am I? I want to figure this out. This is not about belonging to a group because that makes you feel good about yourself. And unfortunately, for most people in this world, it is. Because the world at large, I would say, is not interested in knowing itself. The reason is that once you direct your light back, and you look at yourself, you will have to see who you have become. You'll have to actually take responsibility for what's there. Nothing more unpleasant than that. And it's perfectly understandable. We prefer distraction. As you can clearly see, the entire world is a place of distraction. It's a place where the attention is drawn out towards sense experiences. It's not a place where the attention is coming back home, where it withdraws into itself, where it becomes very quiet, where it goes beyond the psychological and physical realms, which is the point. You have religious scholars that can argue all day long about the differences of their views. Then you have the mystics, the Gnostics, the people that really have an experience of the divine. There's no argument. Isn't that funny? There's a seeing of what unites us, what we have in common. And that is the emphasis, rather than what separates us. What makes me stand out. This is not important, what makes me stand out. My doctrine is the most perfect, purest form of. You've just lost me, if that is what you say. My doctrine is the best. You just lost me. Somebody that has truly tasted would never say that. Doesn't mean they would not have appreciation for their doctrine because it was their path that got them there. There's gratitude for the masters, gratitude for the lineage, and it's overwhelming because it has actually worked. But why the comparison to other doctrine? How would that be helpful? To set myself apart. Isn't it the same as saying, my car is bigger than yours? What's the difference? What's actually the difference? So, instead of being stuck in your heads, aim to transcend them. Get out of your thoughts. Get out of your body. Explore what's beyond that. When we do that step by step, start by getting out of your own tension. Release that first. See what's underneath there. See what's underneath your emotions and thoughts. And just keep going. That curiosity, if that drives you, that's, I'd say that would be good news. If you really want to know. All right, so that's all that comes to mind for today. Are there any questions? We hope you enjoyed this episode and had a meaningful time. For more information and upcoming events, head over to our website at phuket-meditation.com. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.